Hey, how's it going? Okay, take two. So, there are my lovely YouTube disclaimers. In fact, I'm just going to bring this whole deal over because, as usual, I have not fixed up my setup so that my letters are showing up well on my little information board. One of these days I'll get that together, but yes, those are my YouTube disclaimers. And there is, oh good, one of the signs is covering the title. Hooray! But I just want to bring this in closer because the cast is huge. And I wanted to get everyone included that I could. There's a lot of people, feature in the story. There's a lot of not subtext, well, there's that, but there's a lot of subplots going on. And, yeah. Anyway, I showed you all of my official stuff. Ooh, official. And so, this is, like I said, this is the second time I'm doing this, so I'm going back to where I was when I just trashed the last effort. I was about to talk about how I watched this. And I watched it on Peacock. Oh, I guess I have to repeat everything I just threw in the trash. Okay. So, this is a fictional adaptation of an actual event, a true event. Although I did not find out about the true event until I learned about the movie Cocaine Bear, which, that's right, it's slightly covered by one of my stupid signs. Hi, go up. Anyway, so I watched it on Peacock, which is, I think, the only place you can watch it right now. And directly following it, and it's like in the end credits practically of the movie, is the documentary on the real events. And I have to say there's not as much action as the movie would give you to believe, but like I said, it's a fictional adaptation, which means the writers, the screenwriters, whomever behind the camera that was sort of directing the flow of the story, they took a lot of creative license, which is good for the movie. But back to the documentary, it's not all that flashy and exciting. There's a lot of commentary, a lot of B-roll, I think, because if you watch it right after the movie, it's really dull and dry. But I think that they're just, the real story just really is not that big of a deal. It's not that exciting. I mean, the bear part of it is over pretty quick because I don't even know why it ate the cocaine, because it's got, it has a smell, and I can't believe that would appeal to a bear, but they're hungry. They're breaking in all over the place trying to just eat. I don't know. But anyway, the actual bear ate it and died. Certainly not as much as in the movie. I think it got into like a kilo brick and didn't finish it because it had a freaking heart attack and died. So that part of the story, in reality, over relatively quickly. And the rest is like people reacting. Kind of a disappointment, IMO, but nobody asked me. I'm just offering my opinion. So anyway, onto the movie though. Well, almost. Because watching it, and I hadn't seen it before, but I had a person with me watching that was a temporary replacement for my normal caregiver that comes and sort of helps me out with things that I need to do that I need help with. You don't need to know the details. Anyway, nothing strange, just shopping and stuff. Anyway, get your mind out of the crazy house. Yeah. So I had a temporary person come in, and that's not always like, it doesn't always work out. But this time it did. I'm not going to dwell on that crap because it's not happy. But I got along with her. I was happy with her work. And so when the work was done, part of what they have a person come for is to provide companionship, because here in the state, I don't have family. I'm not near anyone I know. So, it's just, I don't have a lot of friends, I guess, and a lot of like social contacts. So I appreciate having a person to come listen to me yammer. So I had this young woman, and I'm not sure how old she was, but she's got a few kids, so she's not a child. I would say like early 30s, maybe like late 20s. She seems young. Anyway, well, it's funny. Like my normal caregiver, a lot of times I'll say, "Have you seen this movie?" And she'll be like, "No." But it's because she's into different things. With this young woman that was temping, it was different. As she explained later, she didn't grow up with a television in the house, and I didn't ask her for specifics on why, because that could go anywhere from like kill your television to religious stuff. So I just didn't ask. But she now has, her own home, and she does have a platform, but she doesn't. I have a bunch because I do this. But anyway, I said, "Had you seen this?" And the first thing I watched with her was Pulp Fiction. Had I known that she was kind of like a virgin to this stuff, I probably would have started off with something a little less killy, gory. And I asked her when it was over, and it took 2 visits because I only have her for a couple of hours, or had her for a couple of hours a day. So we finished the first part, and it's a long movie. Like, it was the long cut. And, when she came back, when she left, she was like disappointed that she had to leave. So I'm thinking, well, she must be enjoying it. And like I said, I didn't know any more about, her feelings on television and that, except for not having the television. I don't think she told me that until afterward. But so she left after like part 1 of us watching it, and then she seemed to be really into it. Like, she was like, kind of bummed she was done and had to go somewhere else. And when she came back, and we got whatever official little jobs I had for her, whatever, done, then we could watch the movie. So we're watching, she's like into it. She's like raring to go, expressed excitement. So when it was done, I said, "Well, what'd you think?" And she said, "That was different," and then she left. But she didn't say it in a mean way or an upset way. It was just more like she hadn't digested it, like, as a whole. And, of course, I'm trying not to run too much commentary. And I don't run commentary, but usually there's no one home with me, so I'm just talking at the television like constantly, so I really had to like cut back on that. Anyway, that was the dynamic going in. And I hadn't seen this one, but it's named Cocaine Bear, and I had an idea what it's about. I didn't see commercials. The bear on coke, so I don't know that she knows much about coke and being around people on coke and being around people that are crazed on it because they did like too much for a bear. So just keep that in mind when thinking of this, and when trying to picture this. So we're watching it, and more gore and comic moments at times when, sort of gallows humor. And I'm looking at her periodically, and both movies she's like this, like hunched up on her knees, leaning forward, absorbed, right? So, yeah. she again, her comments when that was over was like, "Wow, that was really gory," and something else that I think my actual normal, like regular caregiver also said when she saw O'Shea Jackson Jr., Ice Cube's son. She said they both said that guy looks like Ice Cube, and I'm like, that's his son. Yes, he does. So that's why, if you noticed when I held up the camera to the board there, that it says O'Shea, that looks like Ice Cube Jackson Jr. Okay. So, here were my thoughts on it. First of all, I really like Alden Ehrenreich, and I liked him from Solo, which I thought people dogged him for all hard. But see, I have a different view on Star Wars and pretty much anything than I call them the canon Nazis or canon monkeys because they are so into their non I don't know, skill, like, I don't even know what you call it. Like, they're so concerned with how things should be and what order and which, universe does this and that and how does it connect to the other thing. Like, they're so upset about it. And, like, I don't know if people remember which Star Wars movie had the Ewoks. Well, I don't know if people remember when that came out. There were no streaming platforms. There was no internet. There was a Star Wars movie when a Star Wars movie came out, and I personally was glad to have it, whatever it was. Like, the Ewoks, I felt like were kind of dumb and out of place, but who's to say, for one thing, that on other planets, things are not just super cute looking, and maybe they're completely lethally dangerous in ways we haven't even thought of. But that's like, poo, out there. As far as the Star Wars movies were concerned, okay, Ewoks were kind of lame, but the rest of it was pretty good, and I was just glad to have a Star Wars movie. And I think people don't appreciate these things the same way. It's got to be exacting to their standards, and it's like, yeah, but that's just you and in your head, dude. That's not for everyone else. Viewing is subjective. Enjoyment is subjective. So, anyway, I don't know. Oh, so yeah. I thought people really dogged Solo. What did you expect? Like, what do you expect people with your canon high standards? Are you high on canon Coke? I thought Solo was good. It's better than the nothing we had before. I like the actor, Alden Ehrenreich. I hope I'm pronouncing Ehrenreich. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He almost got, excuse me. He almost got swept up in a Me Too eddy, but I think that whatever the accusations were or whatever was alleged didn't turn out to be like anything, because I remember I heard it about him for like a second and then it just went away. And I didn't investigate, because sometimes like that stuff happens where someone gets famous and gets a bunch of money, and then they are suddenly think they're endowed with like the inalienable right to alienate and physically intrude upon other people. And those of us that have been intruded upon can tell you that's not okay. No, you're wrong. You're still the same whoever you were. You just have like newer and shinier trappings. But anyway, I enjoyed him before it. I enjoyed him in Solo. I enjoyed him in Cocaine Bear. He has my endorsement. Yay. I'm sure he's just overjoyed. Anyway, and then Kerry Russell, she has a good part. She is the mother of a precocious daughter precocious and what is the word? I always lose them when I'm trying to talk. She doesn't follow rules very well. She doesn't mind very well. But she's really smart and creative, so I think her mother gives her in the movie, Sari gives her a lot of latitude. And the little boy that is her friend, I believe, is the same kid that was in Sugarfoot. Shoot, I'll try to do it at the same time, but I don't know if I can do that. My brain's about this big. So yeah, but I believe he's in that Netflix. Netflix. Hold on, let me see. Kid's name. Hold on. Christian Convery. Let's see here. I should have done this beforehand, but I didn't. This is actually really spontaneous. I almost didn't do this. Well, I started to do it, and then I had to go let the cat in. And I got sidetracked and almost started watching something else, and I was like, wait a second. Then you're just going to change your whole state of mind, and you don't want to do that because you're into this. So, yes. Oh, Sweet Tooth. Sugarfoot. I knew it was something fructose. Anyway, yeah. Christian Convery is an American-Canadian actor, and he plays the role of Gus in the Netflix fantasy series Sweet Tooth. He also plays the role of Henry in the Universal Pictures American comedy horror thriller movie Cocaine Bear. Did it! So, yeah, that kid is great. He, in both parts that I've seen him in so far, he's very cute, which is part of the charm, of course. Like, I don't know very many people that are immune to something pleasing to the eye being pleasing to the mind. Okay, and so what else? Okay, oh, and Ray Liotta. So that was another thing. While I'm talking to the young lady, I was looking forward to being able to introduce her to all kinds of things. Like, I was like, oh, do I play LA Confidential or Gladiator? And I was like, oh, I don't know. Maybe I should find something less violent. I should have shown her Sweet Tooth, actually. But I was all excited asking her before I knew had she seen Goodfellas, and that was when she kind of told me like what the situation was with the television and the seeing stuff. And she said she had been sheltered, and I was like, in this respect, yes. And I can understand why, no matter what the reasoning was. Stuff is violent and gory, and if you haven't been basically brought up by that, it could be a shock to your system. So, I don't know if that's what happened with her, but I was all excited to then show her Goodfellas, because that's still gory and violent, but Ray Liotta, who we just lost. Oh, God, I liked him so much. You know, he has an interesting life story. It sort of reminds me of Keanu Reeves. He also had a first wife who passed away from illness that was like his first love. So, you know, they have that in common. They both, again, remarried and presumably were happy. I don't really know what's up with Keanu Reeves, but I get the impression they're happy. They seem to present as happy. Ray Liotta, I know that he remarried, and I don't know that I really looked into it any further than that. As far as I know, they just still were, because he wasn't like a crazy person that did wild stuff to sort of repel a mate. But yeah, we lost him, and he's so good, and I got to get a better word than good because it's everything is good. But he is marvelous in Goodfellas. I'm sidetracked, but can I just say my favorite part is when he thinks the helicopters are following him? That's all I'm going to say because I know some people out there for some reason still haven't seen Goodfellas. But, I lost her on Friday. She didn't die or anything. They just assigned her to someone else. So I don't get to show her stuff. But I got to show her Pulp Fiction, and I feel like that was an achievement. That is a movie I feel like is worth seeing. So shut up. Anyway, back to this one. O'Shea Jackson, I already mentioned, he's in it, and he is. I didn't put his character's name up there because my stupid comment took so long. Now I gotta look that up. Shoot. Okay, well, anyway. Well, not anyway. God, what a lame I am here. Hold on just a minute. Come on now. Okay. David. Well, shoot. O'Shea Jackson plays David, and he and Eddie, Alden Ehrenreich, are pals, and they work for Sid White, who is played by Ray Liotta, and is also Eddie's father. And Eddie has left his son with Dad, and Dad is not happy because the child is wild, but Eddie's wife, the child's mother, died, so he's just kind of like a mess, really. He's just like whatever he was before, he just is not anymore. He's just has no will to do anything, and he is just a mess. And so he and O'Shea are involved in this odyssey of being the drug dealer's employees. And what I haven't mentioned is the great sequence at the beginning. And I don't want to say anything about it because it's so good. But it's hilarious. And it just involves the reason why there is cocaine for the bear to get to. And if you live in the world in this century, then you know that drugs are usually smuggled when they're illegal. So there's an element of that involved in the beginning. And so O'Shea, or rather David, is supposed to get Eddie in gear to go find this shit. Excuse my language, but it's appropriate here. And so, he's got this guy that don't want to do the job, and there's like millions of dollars at stake. And again, in the drug game, if you don't pay, you pay with your life. If you don't pay the money, you pay with your life. Unless you can fix something. But if you lose that much money and the drugs, they're probably just going to want to kill you. But we never get to see any of that because it's not in the script, for one thing. So it's just not part of the story that we really are supposed to care about. But I always get, wandering off on threads. But one of the other stories is about the park ranger, Liz. And she is apparently, because she's not great at her job, they stuck her someplace remote, and she is in a lot of ways unsatisfied. Let's put it that way, professionally, personally. And so she's made friends with Peter, and she's like, when we first see her, she's nervous, she's smoking, she's getting herself gussied up, such as she can be in her khaki uniform. And she's all excited because she's going to go have some sort of date or something with Peter. And then when Peter arrives, I'm like, and he opens up his mouth and starts talking. I'm like, oh my, honey, I think you just wasted your effort. I don't think you're his type. And he's not even there. Like, all he notices is, were you smoking? Which he's not for that. So she lies and says it was someone else. Although I had the thought, well, were you to get to the kissing stage or even the hugging stage, he's going to know you were the one smoking. I mean, people are not stupid. They can put a couple of numerals together and get a quotient, you know? So anyway, metaphorically. Anyway, they have like a couple of sort of thought streams going on that are just not joining at all. They're just kind of, the people are hanging out together, but the thought streams are completely independent of each other. So, I mean, Peter thinks he is like a woods guy, that he knows the woods and he knows the animals and how they feel, and oh my, he's so wrong. And at the same time, while this bear stuff is going on, there has been a gang of young guys that were drawn together by their oddness and I don't know, they're just sort of weird, nerdy outcast guys, like fringy people, but they want to be cool so bad. And in a way, they are like big fish, small pond kind of way, or whatever. Not by my reckoning, but okay. I don't think they're supposed to look cool, because if they weren't, they achieved 100% success. But they're like thieves, petty thieves, and of course they run across some of the wayward cocaine, but that is not known by anybody else really but the viewer and them. And it's like they're small town guys that are bored, to have nothing better to do than hang around this ranger lady that they know they can kind of mess with and steal from her petty cash, and she doesn't even catch on, which is why they stuck her in the middle of nowhere. So there's a great sequence of events involving those guys and the bear interrupting their date, and also Sari and the children who come into contact with the bear, and the bear actually runs off with Sari's little girl. The heck is that kid's name? Dee Dee, I believe. Wait, is Dee her name? Oh, hi, I have the cast right here. Why don't I look at that? Yep, Dee Dee. And, but the bear is so whacked out that the bear just like takes her and stashes her, I guess. Like maybe to snack on later. I'm not real sure. But she is gone for a while, and mostly with Henry's help, they find her and are able to rescue her, so that's good news. And honestly, the only people that, well, I'm just gonna reverse all of that, just scratch it. I never said it. Well, I did never say it. Just forget the idea that I was gonna say anything. One of the other subplots is the I'm gonna say Swedish or some sort of Scandinavian or Norwegian, I think they say, some sort of Scandinavian couple vacationing in the American park, and I make the comment at some point to my companion that I'm watching the movie with it. You know, they are going to be real prepared, and they are, like, every little thing that's needed comes out of this guy's backpack after he's had a tragedy happen with his fiance. And I don't know if you noticed, but their names are Olaf and Elsa. And I don't know if you know this, because I didn't see the movie, but I know that Elsa was one of the frozen princesses, and Olaf was the goofy snowman guy. And I thought it was funny, and I wrote their cast names, Elsa and Olaf Thawed. Ha ha! Sorry. Actually, I'm not. You're here. You can take it. So, it's just such a funny undertaking that they made of it. Because really, every sort of storyline has all these sort of comedic tragedies happen, and there's some people that go that you're sad to see go, and there's others that you're like, oh well, okay, that works. Sorry to his people, but he gave it up for the sake of the story, and it was good. um, Pardon. How am I doing on time here? Oh, I should probably stop. So, do I have anything else to add? I mean, all I can say is, yes, it's violent. Yes, there's gore. So, be prepared for that. But it is used as humor. So, and also, comic adaptation, comedic license, dramatic license. It's not what really happened. Although the real story is tragic. That the bear got a hold of some coke and OD'd. That's the worst part. But otherwise, the story is pretty comical. And I like their adaptation. So, kind of covered that. Thank you and good night.